The following paranormal event took place in 1963 at a university in Nebraska and could fall into either of the following categories: a time slip, a residual haunting, or a genuine ghost. What do you think? She was 67 at the time of her death. However, after 27 years of being deceased, Clara Mills decided to do a comeback in 1963, where she made her appearance in front of Wesleyan faculty member Colin Butterbaugh in the C.C. White building. Colin Butterbaugh was taking a message to Professor Martin, a visiting professor from Scotland. She had just pushed away through a group of students in the hallway as she headed to the professor's rooms. As she drew close to his room, she was overcome by a choking odour, and then immediately felt the presence of someone else in the room. At the same moment, everything went deathly quiet, and the sound of noisy students suddenly disappeared. She then felt a sudden urge to turn her head towards a cabinet along the wall. She looked up, and there she was. There was a woman with her back to her, reaching up to one of the shelves of the cabinet with her right hand and standing perfectly still. She never moved, but unlike a ghostly figure, she appeared solid, yet she knew she wasn't real. She just stared at her. Then all of a sudden, she just faded away. Mrs. Butterbaugh described the woman as tall, with black hair, wearing a blouse and ankle-length skirt. She also had the feeling there was a man sitting at the desk, though she could see nothing. Everything remained silent as she gazed out of the window. There were a few scattered trees, but the rest was open fields. The new Willard sorority house and Madison Street were not there. She then felt very frightened and quickly left the room. As she walked back into the hallway, the familiar throng of the students immediately returned. It appears that Colin Butterbaugh had momentarily stepped back in time and was seeing the surroundings as they had been many years before. Mrs. Butterbaugh decided to look up one of the old yearbooks of the university and located a photograph of a Miss Clarissa Mills, who had lectured in music and piano, who had started work at the college in 1912 and who had collapsed and died in 1936 at about 9 a.m. in the morning. This was the same time that Colleen had entered the room. It turns out that the cabinet of which the apparition of Clara Miles had been seen contained several choral arrangements that she often looked through. It is not known whether she was shocked by what she had encountered, but Colleen Butterbaugh not only quit her job, but left the state just days later. However, that was not the last time the apparition of Clara Mills had appeared in the old main building. Junior biology major Garrett Jansen was one of the many students on campus to see Mills walking past the stained glass windows of the building. He said he was walking by the building in his freshman year at night, past the old main building, and on the third floor window he saw a bright face sweep across the window. He saw it 2 or 3 times that night. Even though he claims he didn't believe in ghosts, he definitely saw something eerie and unusual. Since that first haunting in 1963, students have at times heard piano music playing at very strange times during the day, where the music seems to lure listeners to the room and immediately stops once they've entered it.